A new development having to do with the sinking of the Titanic in the beginning of the 1900s. A new bombshell, owner's shock design decision that helped sink the ship. Titanic's owner made a decision about the ship's design, and that's what led it to sink easily. This is the bombshell documentary claiming this. This is by Callum Hoare on Express UK. The British passenger liner sank April 15th, 1912, with more than 1,500 passengers losing their lives. Titanic was on its way from Southampton to New York City when it hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic and descended into the Atlantic Ocean. That's when the official inquiry into the incident by the British Wreck Commissioner found the owners, the White Star Line, were not to blame for the disaster. But more than 100 years later, conspiracy theorists still believe the company owned by Joseph Ismay was involved in a cover-up. And from what we remember, Ismay saved his life by running and saving himself by hiding, jumping into a lifeboat that was destined to be filled with women. So that's how he escaped and saved himself. What can I say? To each his own. At that point in time, we know that there were not enough lifeboats for the passengers on the line, on the ships. That's when the law changed, making it a requirement to have enough lifeboats to save all passengers on ship. And this is what the newspapers of the time said, that he claims he escaped by saving his life, climbing into a lifeboat destined for women. So now, according to Amazon Prime's Titanic Arrogance, there has been a huge flaw in the ship's design which essentially helped it to sink. This documentary was from 2011, and it says the ship was divided into 16 compartments with watertight steel doors. These doors could be closed locally by switches on the bridge or automatically in the event of flooding. Well, that makes sense. And they go on to say they should have made the ship unsinkable, but the bulkheads, upright wall within the hull of the ship, did not extend far enough up. Well, what sense does that make? They should have been all the way up so that everything would be watertight. Going on with this description, the design was consciously made by the owners to not interfere with the passenger areas higher in the ship. Joseph Ismay was the English businessman who served as chairman and manager of the White Star Line. He was subject to severe criticism following the sinking of Titanic after he, as we know, deserted the doomed vessel by climbing into a lifeboat destined for women. Many even blame him directly for the disaster, for the sinking of the Titanic. During investigation, some passengers testified they heard Ismay pressuring Captain Edward J. Smith to take the ship faster, in other words, to make it speed more, in order to arrive in New York ahead of schedule and generate some free press. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Capota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.